students, a hearty welcome to the new session. In the last session, you learned about the terrestrial habitats. Habitats are categorized into two main types, terrestrial and aquatic. Terrestrial habitats include deserts, mountain regions, and grasslands. A large tree can also be considered a terrestrial habitat, providing a home for many organisms. Now, we will focus on the other types of habitats called aquatic habitats. The habitats of plants and animals that live in water are called aquatic habitats. Habitats like lakes, ponds, rivers, and oceans are some examples of aquatic habitats. Let us start with the topic aquatic habitats from the lesson Living Organisms, Habitats and Adaptations of Class 6 Science. Learning outcomes. After studying this topic, you will be able to understand ocean as a habitat. Know about the pond habitat. Describe the features of organisms living in aquatic habitats. Keywords: aquatic habitat, oceans, ponds, lakes, blowholes, floating plants, submerged plants, pond skater. Let us see the concept map on aquatic habitats here. Fish live in rivers, streams, ponds, lakes, seas, and oceans. Do you remember the streamlined body shape of a fish? The streamlined body of a fish is adapted for movement in water. Fish have gills to breathe oxygen dissolved in water. Some sea animals like squids and octopuses do not have this streamlined shape. They stay deeper in the ocean near the seabed and catch any prey that moves towards them. However, when they move in water, they make their body shapes streamlined. These animals have gills to help them use oxygen dissolved in water. Animals like dolphins and whales do not have gills. They breathe air through nostrils or blowholes that are located on the upper parts of their heads. This allows them to breathe in air when they swim near the surface of water. They can stay underwater for a long time without breathing. They come out to the surface from time to time to breathe in air. Pond as a habitat. There are several organisms in a pond. In the pond, we find different organisms living in different regions. This is due to conditions like availability of food, air, light, etc. We find organisms like dragonfly, mayfly, and kingfisher living above the surface, above the pond, and then resting over a bamboo pole or a stick jutting out of the surface of the pond. They get food from the surface of the pond. Organisms like snails, whirling beetle, and pond skaters live on the surface. The larvae of dragonflies and mayflies also live on the surface of the pond. Plants like pistia and water hyacinth float on the surface completely. Some plants like the lotus have roots going deep under. In terrestrial plants, roots normally play a very important role in the absorption of nutrients and water from the soil. However, in aquatic plants, roots are much reduced in size and their main function is to hold the plant in place. The stems of these plants are long, hollow, and light. The stems grow up to the surface of water while the leaves and flowers float on the surface. The bottom of the pond has plants like hydrilla submerged in water. All parts of the plants are underwater. Some of these plants have narrow and thin ribbon-like leaves and can bend in the flowing water. In some submerged plants, leaves are often highly divided, allowing water to flow through without damaging them. Surface organisms are easily eaten up by others because there is little protection for them. However, there is plenty of food and air available, so fish usually comes to the surface to feed. Great water boatmen, leeches and mosquito larvae are found either below the surface water or in mid-water. Fish and crabs also swim around this region. Pond margins have several grasses, frogs, crabs, cranes, etc. Fish usually lay eggs here. Frogs usually live in ponds. Frogs can stay both inside the water and move on land. They have strong back legs that help them leap and catch their prey. They have webbed feet which help them swim in water. The bottom of the pond has animals like mussels, flatworms, and some maggots, larvae of some flies. Light is minimum here, but food in the form of dead and decaying matter is plentiful. A wide variety of animals found near rivers, seashores for food, habitat and reproduction. Points to remember. All habitats may be broadly grouped into terrestrial, land, and aquatic, water. Several kinds of plants and animals share the same habitat. Habitats shows the diversity of nature. Oceans, seas, rivers, ponds, and lakes are aquatic habitats. In a pond, some plants float, some have stems in the water, and some plants like hydrilla are submerged in water. The surface of the pond provides food and air for fish, several insects and birds like kingfishers. The bottom of the pond has very little light but has dead organisms as food. Thank you for watching.